Hello, just wanted to make another quick video about vaccines and antibodies because I've done 2 others and I still don't think it's being fully understood because I'm getting so many questions, and I know this is like quite an emotive subject really, and something that everybody feels like they've got to get right. There's a lot of fear behind it, so I thought 3 videos, third time lucky maybe. Okay, so we are sold a vaccine because the idea is that after the vaccine the dog will have immunity in its body, okay, ready to fight a disease. Immunity and antibodies are not the same thing, okay? So I want this lump of lovely crystal from the mountains behind me to represent immunity. So your dog has an immunity, okay, and when it comes across the disease again, out come the antibodies, okay? So these small parts of the crystal, some of it are going to represent antibodies. So the immunity is still there, but the antibodies are traveling around the body, okay, and they're going to fight the disease. So when we have a Titer test, it can test these antibodies. It can't actually test immunity. Nobody even knows how the cell keeps the memory, how it stores the memory, how it even creates the memory. Nobody knows that yet. We just know that it does. We know that the body cells can hold immunity so that when the disease comes along, it can shuck out antibodies. Okay, so when we have a Titer test done, what they're measuring is the level of antibodies that have been thrown out into the body. So essentially they're measuring how much immunity fight, like how much fight is going on in the body in terms of the disease. So if you have no antibodies, okay, they've gone, the immunity's still there. Well, this is what I believe, and I know obviously people like Catherine Driscoll from Canine Health Concern believe, and many other people, and vets, lots of vets included. You know, this is what we're sold vaccines on, the fact that this will happen, not the fact that they're going to have antibodies around the system continuously. In our mind, this is immunity is the reason we're sold it. So if you get a Titer reading with no antibodies, that doesn't mean immunity is not there. If you get a high Titer reading with loads of antibodies floating around the system from the immunity in the cells, from that immune memory, all you're reading is how much level of fight your dog is in at the time. And that could be because they recently came across the disease in the park, or it could be because their body is still reacting from previous vaccines. Or they could have been near a dog that had had a vaccination and that dog was shedding, and that's how they came into contact with it. Now, in terms of the maternal immunity, I would imagine, and I don't obviously know this for definite, and probably nobody does, like they don't know how immunity memory is created by the B cells, that the mum is giving antibodies as such, and they float around until the puppy's body has created the memory. So if you are finding puppies that only have antibodies to, say, 11 or 12 weeks, it's highly likely because they've then got the immunity, so the antibodies don't need to keep working and keep being there because their body has collected and captured that immunity in the memory B cells. And if they've still got the antibody reading high until maybe 20 weeks or 21 weeks, it's probably just because it took that particular puppy a bit longer to create that immunity memory. Okay, so I hope this gives you some idea. Now, I love the fact we can do Titers, and obviously if it means you get a high reading and it means you feel confident then not to vaccinate your dog, then this has got to be a good thing, because in the age we live in, that I think it's highly likely most dogs will be in an active fight in terms of the antibodies going around their system a lot of the time. So we're likely to get high immunity readings, and then hopefully we can use this in the future for things like going to dog clubs, going into kennels, getting insurance, any other reason that you might need to prove that your dog is capable of producing antibodies, and so is highly likely to have an active memory. However, I do want people to understand you're not actually testing immunity, and the reason for that is because I believe, and I don't Titer my dog, because I believe she's got immunity. I mean, the very fact that nature has made that thing to happen, like the body can create a memory of something that later on it can use to fight a disease. I mean, nature has made that happen. Why would nature suddenly switch that off after a year or 3 years or however many years? So I personally trust nature, and it's taken me a long time to get to this trustability, really, and this confidence in myself. And as I wrote on a post earlier on this very group, so this YouTube video is going to go live, but I have really done it in response to a few people that were chatting earlier on the Canine Health Concern group, What the Vets Don't Tell You. And as I was saying on that group earlier, I wish I could sell you a bottle of confidence to feel the way that I feel, and to trust that this is going to be in there for life, and to trust in nature. But hopefully this video will go a little bit of a way. Perhaps it will fill the bottle of confidence up that little extra bit more, and that's really why I've made the video. So I hope it gives you some understanding, and lovely to talk to you today.